It's great to be talking once again to Mr. Scott Gorham. Scott, thanks for taking my call.
Thank you, Mal. It's good to talk to you once again. It's been a while, but it's all good, bud.
How about this, right? Take yourself back, 2012, 2013. You're touring as Thin Lizzy. You've got an album of stuff recorded. You know, do we release it as Thin Lizzy? Do we not? You chose not to. I think that was the right decision. And here we are about to talk about the fourth Black Star Riders album. Can you believe it?
Really, when we got done with the first album, I remember Ricky and I looking at each other going, well, it's a pretty good album. I wonder if we'll be able to get to do this another one, and we spool on years later, and there we are in Los Angeles recording State of Grace here, and we look at each other and go, wow, can you believe we're on our fourth album? We didn't know if we were going to get past the first one, right? So it's great. So it's really great, Mal, to be talking with you on our fourth album.
It's just unbelievable, isn't it? Now, we've had a couple of lineup changes over the time, but spread out. Marco left between the first and second. Robbie Crane came in. He's still there. How's he going?
Robbie's great. Robbie's he's always a source of inspiration, that guy. I love him to death. And he is just one hell of a bass player. He just keeps coming up with these lines where you're just inspired. Every time he brings these things out, what a great sound, and what a great guy. So Robbie will be there right to the end, whenever that is.
After Heavy Fire, Jimmy left the drum stool, and we got Chad in. Tell us how you found Chad, and how's he going?
Jimmy left because of family reasons. Got a couple of kids. He's married. Every time we were touring, and this kind of goes with Damon also. He would always be in Europe, so time away from the family was crazy for them, and they had to, be with their family, watch their kids grow up, and all that. And I was fine with that. In a band, it's not a jail sentence. You do what you got to do, and then you get out. But Chad, we had tried out a few drummers. All of them were good, but, we were looking for something that little bit extra, right? And along comes Chad. He finds out that we're looking for a drummer. He makes a video of himself playing, I think, 3 or 4 Black Star Rider songs, and I saw, both Ricky and I saw that something in Chad. Here's a guy that if you want a really cool groove, he's got it. And if you need some stomping, hell-raising drums, he's got that also, right? And he's a cool guy. So as soon as we saw that tape, Chad was our guy. There was no question about it. There was Chad, right? And the same thing happened with Damon Johnson. He left. I think a year later. Same thing with the family thing. He needed to get back to his family. He just couldn't be touring that much. He felt and not be able to watch his kids grow up. So it's probably the second time in my career that an open audition was held, and these are like horror situations to be in, right? But a lot of these guys were good. None of them were actually, once again, quite right. For holding down that right-hand spot for Black Star Riders. And then Christian Martucci. I'd never really heard of Christian before. He was playing in a band called Stone Sour. Now, I'd kind of heard of Stone Sour, so that kind of piqued my interest right off the bat. He also worked up a video. I think he laid down, 5 Black Star Riders songs. And I liked this look, but more than that, I liked what he was doing with the songs, the way he thought about it. And I thought, this is the guy. This is the guy that's going to hold down that right-hand section over there on the Black Star Rider stage. So now all of a sudden, we got a band back together again. It's probably, in my opinion, stronger than it's ever been.
I must admit, I was devastated when I read that Damon was leaving. But having heard the album, these two chaps, Christian in particular, have fitted right in, haven't they?
Yeah, he's hit a home run. Christian's one of those guys. Well, if you kind of look at Black Star Riders and you hear the guitar bits that we come up with, Damon and I are style-wise, you're pretty close together. Not completely, but pretty close, right? Now, Christian, on the other hand, he's got a pretty different style than myself, right? But while watching that video and seeing what his ideas of maybe how some of those parts should have gone, it really piqued my interest. So what I'm feeling now in Black Star Riders, guitar-wise, is the ideas and the sound has widened quite a bit from the previous three albums. Not to say that Damon didn't do a great job. Absolutely, he did a great job. But now we've got this kind of wholly different sound going on, which I love. I think it's great. Like I say, to me, the sound has been widened. It's like a thicker, more stand on your own kind of sound.
I'm going to expand on that a bit and tell me if I'm out of line, but I don't think the band needed a kick up the arse, right? I don't think Black Star Riders needed a kick up the arse, but Christian came in and gave it a kick up the arse. That's the way I hear it.
No, that's great, and I love hearing that. Because every time you get a new member of the band, you're just like rolling the dice. This is a gamble. Is this going to work or is it not going to work? But both Ricky and I, we had this real belief that this Christian guy, he's going to work. He's going to make this, the whole thing work for himself. So I think with actually, when you listen to the album, you can see that, hopefully, you guys think the same way, that we've been proven right. The reaction so far on the album has been nothing but pretty phenomenal. So I'm feeling pretty safe in my choice right now.
Now, we've gone into the studio to record the fourth album. How are we going with the recording here? Where'd you do it? How good a process was it?
Well, this was a way different way of doing an album for all of us. We came up with this scheme. It's a system that we'd never tried before. With all of us living thousands of miles apart, getting together for rehearsal was just an absolute non-starter. That was not going to happen, right? So it was Christian that came up with this idea. He'd done it once before. I think he even did it with Stone Sour, right? What he does is he takes his laptop out on the road that's got Pro Tools in it, right? And he knows how to work it very well. He suggested, why don't you do this? All you guys record your ideas on your iPhone, iPad, whatever you got, send it over to me. I'll load it into my laptop here, and I'll start, trying to glue all these bits together, song-wise, right? And feel free at any point to give me some kind of guidance the way you want, these bits to go or whatever, right? And right off the bat, I thought, I don't know if I like that idea. Come on, man. We got to be in the same room together, eyeballing each other here to, get the vibe. But okay, I'll give it a shot. Well, what the heck? Let's see what happens here. The worst that could happen was it's not going to work, right? So I think I sent over 20 ideas, maybe a little more. Ricky sent over 25. Robbie sent his ideas in, and there was Christian, he's gluing all this stuff together, right? He came up with, however you want to put it, with 15 songs with all of our parts that we had written inside these songs, right? And what that did, because we only had 2 weeks to make this album, for God's sakes, I mean, that's kind of a blink of an eye, it made it so that when we got into rehearsals, there wasn't all this wasted time of, starting okay, here's our starting point. We've already got our starting point. There's 15 templates of the songs right there all ready to go. Now we just had to kind of fine-tune all of these different songs, right, and figure out what your lead bits were going to be and, throw in maybe a harmony guitar here, those kind of things. So it saved massive amounts of time. So when we got into the actual studio, which was Sphere Studios in Los Angeles, we already knew what we were doing. Now from that point on, it was just like kind of minor adjustments. So that right there made the atmosphere much lighter. It felt like a huge weight was off of everybody. So it turned out to be a really cool way to, write an album, which was a brand new way for me and Ricky and everybody else. So cool. It was a great idea.
Back when I spoke to you when The Killer Instinct was about to come out, you confessed that you came up for the riff for Soldier's Town while in the shower, right?
Yeah. I do that a lot in the shower.
Have we got any similar stories about this album?
Well, the last song to go on the album was mine. It's called Underneath the Afterglow, right? That's Ricky's title. He wrote the lyrics for it. But I had this riff. We'd already had 14 songs done and, ready to work on and all that. So on the plane over, I think, well, what am I going to do with this riff? I really like this riff. What the hell, right? So I called my nephew in Los Angeles saying, I'm coming over. We're doing this album. Can I stay at your place for a few days? Just get over the jet lag. Yeah, sure, no problem. So on the drive home to his place, I told him I got this riff. I don't want to show it to you, right? He goes, oh, cool. Well, let's stop over at my studio. He's part owner of this recording studio. So we get there, and I immediately start to see his engineers setting up microphones everywhere. I'm going, wow, is a session coming in? What's going on? He goes, no, man, we're gonna demo this idea of yours. I'm like, you're kidding, right? Okay. And he and I just sat down and just started to glue this song together. And when we got done with it, all three of us, the engineer, Jesse, and myself, we sat back and went, wow, man, that's pretty cool, man. Everybody else in the band has got to hear this. So I sent it off to Ricky, Jay, Rustin, the producer, and Robbie, and everybody said, this has got to go on the album, but we're at the 11th hour. The lyrics haven't been written, melody lines, the whole deal. And I got to say, Ricky really pulled it out of the bag. He already had lyrics written. He came up with a really cool melody line, and it made it on the album, like I say, on the 11th hour. So it was great. What
about the riff for Another State of Grace? Was that one of yours?
No, that's Ricky. That's the Irish guy doing the Irish riff. I mean, Ricky comes up with more riffs than you would think. You think of Ricky as just the singer, or he's playing his acoustic guitar. No, he's a pretty good riff meister himself. But the Irish thing is very near and dear to Ricky's heart. Obviously, coming from Belfast. So, and me coming from the whole Thin Lizzy Irish side of things. We always give the Irish a nod on every album that we do. It's just kind of part of our sort of DNA, or to give Ireland a nod, a thank you so much. And the Irish stuff is fun to play. There's always a great groove that happens inside all this great Irish music. So we give it a nod on every album.
What happens now? You've got the album coming out September 6th. What's the plan then?
Well, before then, actually, we've got 4 Thin Lizzy shows that Ricky and I are doing. We've got 2 in England, 2 festivals in England, another festival in Barcelona, and the last festival will be in Belgium, right? And that's purely because the Black Rose album is 40 years old this year.
And can I tell you?
What's that?
That I was nearly going to be coming over for one of those.
Well, come on over. I know one of the guys in the band. I can get you in. Be glad to have you, right? So anyway, we're doing these 4 shows, and I'm really happy to do it. I still love playing all the Thin Lizzy stuff, right? But like you say, the album, Black Star Riders, it gets released in September. October, we're on tour in the UK. We do the whole of the UK, then fly over to Europe. And I think we got 6 or 7 weeks in Europe for that tour. And the only disappointing part right now is I don't see anything for Australia, and I find that extremely disappointing because Ricky and I, myself, we haven't been there for 6 years now. And to me, if you're going to say you're on a world tour and you don't include Australia, you're not actually on a world tour. You are an extended European tour. We've been telling everybody, and everybody wants this badly. Wants to come over to Australia. So we're going to try everything we can to make that happen. Obviously, it won't be this year, but it'll be hopefully in the beginning or so in 2020. So that's the plan anyway.
Right. Scott Gorham, thanks so much for taking my call. Really best of luck with the new Black Star Riders album, Another State of Grace, out early September. Really good album. Best of luck with it. And hopefully we see you on a full world tour in Adelaide.
Thank you so much, Mal. It's been great talking with you, and hopefully we are coming to Australia. We'll see everybody then. Thank you so much.